Lord Robert Stevenson Smythe Baden-Powell of Gilwell, but when he was around Scouts, he was simply BP. And by the way, the correct pronunciation of his name is Powell, like in whole, not Powell, like in owl. Baden-Powell was born February 22, 1857 in London, England. He was the sixth of 7 children. His father, Professor Baden-Powell of Oxford University, was a clergyman with theories about evolution which were controversial in church circles of the time. His mother, Henrietta Grace Smythe, was the socially active daughter of an admiral. Professor Powell died when BP was 3, and Henrietta added his first name to the family name, separated by a hyphen in his honor. As a child, he attended a boarding school for boys called Charterhouse, but schoolwork wasn't really his forte. BP was much more interested in being outdoors, and during the summers, he and his brothers spent much of their time camping. One summer, they canoed all the way across England, portaging their canoes from river to river, sleeping in barns and haystacks, catching rabbits and fish for food, and cooking their meals over open fires. When BP graduated from Charterhouse, his plan was to follow his brothers and earn a scholarship to attend Oxford University. He took the entrance exam, but much to his mother's chagrin, he failed and was denied admission. Soon after, BP saw a newspaper advertisement for examinations to join the British Army. Those with the highest scores would become Army officers. Now, Baden-Powell took the next few months to study math, English, science, geography, and foreign languages in preparation for these exams. Much to his surprise, the tests also included a skill he had enjoyed his entire life, freehand drawing. His efforts paid off as he qualified 5th for infantry and 2nd for cavalry. Soon after, he received his first set of orders, and in the autumn of 1876, he boarded a ship and sailed to India to join his new regiment, the 13th Hussars, one of the most famous regiments in the British Army. BP's time in India was a great adventure and laid the foundation for skills such as map making and surveying, which he would further hone in later assignments. Following his time in India, he was sent to the Balkans, where he was ordered to gather information on the movements and fortifications of Austrian troops in the area. In order to complete this dangerous mission, BP carried a butterfly net and a sketch pad. He pretended to be a somewhat lost and confused Englishman studying butterflies. Under the watchful eyes of police and military authorities, he would catch butterflies near Austrian military forts and proceed to sketch them into his notepad, hiding the details of gun emplacements and other military intelligence in the maps that were also disguised within the sketch of the butterfly. As BP rose through the ranks of the British Army, he started to think about the best way to train soldiers to get them to think for themselves and to be able to serve effectively as military scouts. Over time, he collected these thoughts and training plans, and then while on a bear hunting trip to Kashmir, he wrote a book to train soldiers for reconnaissance work using backwoods skills such as living off the land, tracking, stalking, and horsemanship. In 1899, his small book called Aids to Scouting for NCOs and Men began to be sold in England. BP was sent to South Africa, where the British Army was in conflict with the Boers, settlers of Dutch descent. His assignment was to defend the town of Mafeking. Under his command, he had about 1,200 men, and opposing the British were several thousand Boer soldiers. When BP refused their demands to surrender, they laid siege to the town, and BP drew upon his scouting and outdoor skills that he had developed throughout his life to convince the Boers that the town was defended by a much larger and capable force. Using tricks and deception, BP and his troops were able to defend the town and hold out for 218 days before elements of the British Army were able to arrive and break the Boers' siege. Following the siege at Mafeking, BP returned to England, where he learned he was being hailed a hero for not allowing Mafeking to fall to the Boers. He also learned that his book, Aids to Scouting, had been adopted by many schools and youth organizations as a tool to teach ethics, self-reliance, problem-solving, and woodcraft skills to boys and girls. BP had no idea his book and its lessons would have such a profound impact on the youth of England, and was surprised to see crowds of boys cheering for him and holding up copies of his book like it was a primer for living a life based on these lessons and virtues.